Sir, students are still joining. We can wait for 5 more minutes.
Okay, Roshan. Fine.
Looks like we have all of them, so we can start now, Sharad.
Good evening, everyone. I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Mahadevan Pillai, sir, Principal of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, Mr. Krishna Kumar Kishore, sir, Director of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, all faculty members of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, and last but not least, all the participants present in this inaugural webinar of REVENTON 2021. I find immense pleasure in introducing our honorable chief guest, the self-made entrepreneur, the heartthrob of many aspiring students, the one and only Mr. Vignesh Casey. Mr. Vignesh is the co-founder and director of Vashishta Research, an initiative which has invented the first non-destructive testing for aerospace composite structure in the country. Started with an aim to create a guidance and support for innovative ideas of the literate youths of Kerala, Vashishta Research have now endeavored many heights and is still striving on to reach the new arenas. We are extremely privileged for getting an opportunity to be a part of your webinar, sir. Sir, the webinar is all yours. You can continue.
Hello, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. I hope I'm audible and visible. So, uh, myself, Mr. Vignesh, I am Vignesh, and I am the co-founder of Vasista Research Private Limited. And I would like to thank Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences with you as a co-founder of this startup. So broadly, I would like to say that the startup journey has been very exciting for me. We have started this company in July 2018, and we are still running. And so I'm here to share my experiences, and I would like it to be an interactive session. So whenever, so we'll keep the interaction maybe in the last 15 minutes of the webinar, and whatever questions you want to ask, whatever it may be, you can shoot at that time. And so, first topic which I would like to cover is like my journey in to become an entrepreneur. How I became an entrepreneur, or what made me choose an entrepreneur rather than a safe job. So, if I would like to say my journey first, in my BTech days, if you want to say, I did my production engineering from NIT Calicut. That time, I was not very interested in engineering as such, because it was very, you know, it was just like you learn something and then you pass the exam. So that was the experience for me for BTech. So I was not very interested. So then I got into TCS as my campus placement. So during that time, I got very interested because there it was an engineering services division I was put into, and there they were doing the design of medical devices. So that got me thinking that engineering has real good applications, real world applications, and that made me think, okay, fine, this is where I want to be, and this is what I want to do. Then then a realization came that okay, my knowledge level in engineering is not that high. So I quit my job in 9 months, and then I thought I want to do an MTech, or I want to further study to increase my knowledge. And in my college days, the subjects which I liked was uh, design engineering. So I thought I will do my MTech in design. And I was not very keen on going abroad because really I didn't know what to do. So I thought, okay, I will do my MTech, and if I want to go abroad, I will do my PhD or something over there. So yeah, so that's and then I gave up 1 year to do my gate studies, and that's where I did my. And then I joined IIST, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, to do my masters in structures and design. And in the second year of my MTech, I was doing my major project, and I really wanted to build something. Like, as a definition of an engineer, as someone who builds stuff, builds devices, builds systems, and I wanted to build things, but that was not very possible in the course structure. So basically, that's the time when Mr. Saurabh Chatterjee, he's the founder of the company, he put a Facebook post. He's like he's looking for someone to work with to build a filament winder machine. A filament winding machine is used for is a manufacturing process, just like your lathe machine or your what you say injection molding machine. Is just a machine, but it's used for manufacture of aerospace components. And so I immediately said yes, and I would like to work on it on part time. And so I joined with him on the weekends. So I started working on that in the weekends, and then after 6 months, then after the what you say after my MTech, then I realized, okay, fine. After seeing the machine work, after several trials, that's when I realized, okay, this is where I want to continue. This is what I want to do. And so you can say that I was not an entrepreneur by choice, but by chance. Basically, I got a chance to become an entrepreneur, and I chose that. And that's my story, how I became an entrepreneur. Most of them are not like that. They decide that they want to become entrepreneurs from a long time, and then they become entrepreneurs. So my story is a little different from everyone else. And basically, both of us, me and Saurabh, started this company because we were fed up of the systems that have been imported from outside. If you look at most of the systems, most of the deep tech systems, even the common items, those are all imported from outside, like from companies, from countries like China, US. And these deep tech systems, deep R&D systems are damn expensive. And if these systems break down or something, it's no way there will be a service center in India. And there's a huge problem that most of the institutes and the research organization like ISRO, DRDO, and all that faces. So based on that, based on our motivation to start developing systems in the country, that's when we started. So I'm just going to share my screen to show you a few. Okay, can you see my screen? Sharat,
Yes,
is
sir,
my
we can
screen
see it.
visible?
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
see your screen.
Yeah, so this is the slide. So we want to be the one-stop solution to machines and instruments. We want to make instruments and machines in India from scratch and build it from scratch. So this is the first filament winder prototype we made. This is me, myself on the left side, and Mr. Saurabh Chatterjee on the right side. And this is the first prototype. This is in our manufacturing lab out of IIST. And yeah, basically, if you can see, this product is very basic, and it is made of 3D printed parts. And so you can see that is the first version of our machine. So as you can see in product development, always you will never get it right in the first go. It comes with iterations and iterations and iterations. This is the first version. Then we rebuilt our machine, and see, you can see this on the left side is the second version of our machine, which is more better. If you can see, the 3D printed parts are shifted to metallic parts. Then you can see that black color thing is carbon fiber. Basically, it's a carbon fiber winding machine. And then you can see the electronics board that is developed by us on the right side. And on the bottommost thing, that is the software that we have developed. So all these are the things that comes after iterations, many iterations. And if I would like to say what is the use of this machine, see, we bind these carbon fiber on the cylindrical mandrels, and then we take it out. So we get a carbon fiber product. And this is much more structurally more strong than metallic products, and much more lighter. So it is used mostly in aerospace, because as you know, you want the material to be as light as possible and as strong as possible when you take it outside this thing, outside or when you want to fly the. So yeah, that was my journey till I joined the company. And then coming to the company side of it, we have focused basically on robotics. So we have developed a cable robot, cable driven parallel robot. As you can see the payload which is in the center is driven by cables on all the sides. And this is the cable robot. And I would like to show a small video demonstrating that cable robot. One second. Can you see my video? One second. Hello?
So yeah, we are able to see a screen.
But the video is not coming.
The video is not playing.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll just try to fix it.
Fine, sir. No problem.
Yeah. In the meantime, if there are any questions as of now, you can just shoot. Is there any question, general question? It may not be what I have talked about. Okay, so I think I've fixed it. Can I share the screen again? Can you just tell me if you can see it?
So it's not visible.
Yeah, one second, one second. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we are able to see the picture, but yeah, it's playing, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So this is the motion of the robot in the X direction. This is the cable robot. It's driven by 8 cables. This is the motion of the robot in the Y direction. And this is the motion of the robot in the Z direction. Yeah. And this, you can see the rotation about one axis. And this, you can see the rotation in another axis, right? So this is the electronics board that we have developed. This is being developed from scratch. So as you can see, this is the dynamic simulation that we have done. This is required to find out the forces on those cables. Then we can decide how much big the motor should be. And now this is the pick and place operation that is using a suction pad. It picks and places the components from one side to the other side. And at last but not least, this is like you're scanning over this robotic panel, this aerospace panel with this robot is going over the entire panel. All right. This is one of the robot that we have built. And another robot that we have built is a 5-axis Cartesian robot. So this also basically it moves in 5 directions: X, Y, Z, theta, phi. So this is also a small video, otherwise it's very difficult to explain. Yeah. So this is the motion in one of the directions, X. This is the motion in Y axis. This is the motion in Z axis. So it is slow. This is the rotation in one direction and rotation in another direction. Yeah, these are all other. This is the stop button. It will stop automatically when it reaches that position. This is the entire motion of the robot. Yeah, so those are the robots that we have developed. And now coming to the non-destructive testing equipment. Basically, this is the non-destructive testing equipment that you have built. We have used a thermal camera. And if you can see on the right side is the component with defects. So if you look at the image, you can see the defects that are coming up completely on that image. Right? The defect is at that place. We can identify and we can say this component should be used or not. Non-destructive testing basically is the type of testing used in quality assurance. So what you do in non-destructive testing is we test that component whether it is good enough to be used in the application, or we reject it without destroying the component. So in one of the techniques that we have built is IR thermography technique, and this is a laser shearography technique. And last video which I would like to show is the thermography video. I think again the video is not coming right. One second. Yeah, can you see the video?
Yes, sir, we can see the video.
Yeah, okay. So basically, this is the electronic box, and this is the thermography system for doing the non-destructive testing. So on the back, you can see it is heating up the panel actually, and based on that heating, we can say where the defects is and where the defects are not there. And on the back is the IR camera. It will give us the output. This is the FLIR IR camera, and this will detect the heat. And will give us the temperature at each point, and based on that, we can get the defects. Yeah, so you have seen. Right? Okay. So these are the basic technologies that we have been working on. And so, yeah, these are the basic technologies that is our major focus area. So if I would like to say that these are ours is the only company that is developing these systems from scratch. and that is where we stand out from other companies. In this country, there is no other company that's developing these systems. Even the robotics, they are assembling robots in India, but not developing it from scratch. That's where we find there's a market need or there's a market gap. And also, as everyone knows, that there are a lot of failures in a startup life. So I will show you one of our failed projects, that is in this one. One second. So if you look at this, so this was for one of the DRDO's competition. They asked us to build a marine satellite antenna. So we for the presentation, we built a proof of concept. Like you can see on the right side is the CAD, and on the left side we have built the exact thing that we have made on the CAD. And then finally we got rejected. Basically, they wanted a very big, huge system with a payload of 400 kgs or something. So there are in the startup this thing, there will be a lot of failed products or failed systems. So this is where one of our failure. And Ahalia College is always our is a special place, because our first product that came out in the market was delivered to IIT Palakkad, and basically the requirement was for requirement was for the civil department of IIT Palakkad. So what they required was a manual scanning system, and that can scan over sea beams. So when you go over these beams, you can say that, okay, at this point there is a deflection, at this point there is a more deflection. So this is the product that we developed, and this is the delivery at IIT Palakkad on the right side. And yeah, so this is our first product, and this, you can say this is one of our first successful things. And basically, yeah, that is our first product. And if you want to talk about the other successful items that we have done, is that for DRDO Dare to Dream, our company was selected as the first prize winner. We developed our walking robot for DRDO, and that was one of our success. And Kerala Startup Mission has been we have won their challenges for ideation grant and productization grant. So, and last but not the least, we have won the ANIC Arise grant, that is for our NDT system, that is from ISRO. So basically, over the last 2 years of hard work and these things, we have got some successes, and still we are on a journey to get more clients and orders. Basically, we are still on an R&D phase. We need to take our systems to more mature phase, and that is what currently our situation is. And if you want to talk about, so since you guys are there's a civil department, I will talk about one of the case studies or one of our recent clients. So basically, what happened was, there was a startup challenge or startup event that was organized by NASCOM. So in that, what was the requirement for JK Lakshmi Cement was that there are raw materials in heaps. So they wanted to find out the volume of these raw materials by some other technique. Now they're using a very manual technique, and it takes a lot of time, and it is not very accurate. So there were very reputed companies in that, and we also developed, or we also suggested a new innovative method. So we said that using laser scanning, that means using a LiDAR technology, we can scan it and automate the entire process. So that was our current project, that we are building our laser-based volume estimation system, and that is for JK Lakshmi Cement. And yeah, let me show one more video that will give you a better idea on that project. And so you can see these materials flowing on the conveyor belt, right? They needed to find out the volume of these materials that is going in for their material characterization, for their internal calculations. And also the volume of these stockpiles on this. This is the photo from the JK Lakshmi Cement company's manufacturing facility. And as of now, they're doing it very manual process, and now they want us to automate this. So we said that using a line laser, we can scan the entire thing, and we can give us the volume without any actual calculations. So using this laser, we can get different points and we can get the distances, and using that, we can get the volume easily. So basically, we got the first prize in that also, and that is our present product. That's our present thing. And yeah, I was asked to share a few constraints or few problems that was faced by startups as of now when you start up in Kerala or India or as generally. So the first and foremost, what I would like to say is that the first problem that any startup face is that there is a money problem. So how much money you have? So you have an innovative idea, you want to build something, you want to start a new thing, but you need a team for that. You need a space for that. Always money is the problem, and you have to be very good at money, saying that, okay, when I get this much money, where will I spend it on? And the second problem is the team building. So the person who is going to work with you, for example, the co-founders, the founders of your team, they should have your same vision and same dream. They should dream the same things for your company. And if they are conflicting kind of dreams, then it's always going to be a failure. So people say that the relationship between co-founders should be a relationship like a husband and a wife. So it must be that good. And basically, team is the next important thing. And the thing that comes before the team that comes after the co-founding team is the founding team, the core team of the company. That must also be very strong, and they must stay with you for a long time in ups and downs. So basically, the second biggest hurdle will be the team building exercise. And then speaking in the hardware startups, for example, for us, there is the ecosystem problem. For example, if you want to, for our IIT Palakkad project, we needed to get the laser, the line laser, laser displacement sensor, basically. So there is no company in India that develops such stuff. So we are forced to import that because we cannot make that, because that is not our focus area. So because of the pandemic, that consignment of those displacement sensor was delayed by around 2 months. So our whole project was shifted by 2 months just because of that line laser displacement sensor. So basically, the ecosystem for your startup should be very clear or very existent in the country. For hardware startups, it is very difficult because not much manufacturing is done, and we are reliant on countries like China, Japan for our components. For example, our motors, the linear guides, the rails, all those structural components, all those are imported. And because of that, it is a little difficult to start hardware startups and build on that. Then there's always the pressure from the society, like, okay, why did you choose this? You're not going to get as much as an IT software engineer, and you're not going to get good pay. When will you get married? What will you do after getting this thing? How many years will it take? These are the questions that every startup entrepreneur has to face. And yeah, basically, these are the society. The society will ask you such questions. So basically, from my case and for my founder's case, we had good support from our parents, our friends, and also our faculty members, because we were really passionate about this, and even our partners are also very supportive in this field. And so basically, from that support perspective, we are kind of okay. And people do criticize us and say that, okay, these guys are wasting their time and this is never big. But all that we have to just ignore. Those are things that we should not pay any attention to. And the second, the most important thing in a startup is the sales. Basically, if you want your company to run, for example, you're having 3 people and you're paying them around 30K, you have to have like 1 lakh per month just to sustain your company. So in a year, you have to get a profit of like, for example, at least 12 lakhs just to sustain the company. You have to get that much. So basically, you have to be very good at sales and marketing, and you have to convince your customers that, okay, this is what you have to, this is what this thing, and you have to, what do you say, prove that all the other our products is the best product in the market, and we are giving you the best rate. So, and also we basically being from the engineering background, that is not our strong point. Most of us, even from the students in the technical colleges, sales and marketing is not our main point. So we have to learn. Initially, we will not be able to afford people for marketing, HR, and all. We have to do all the things. So basically, we have to do the sales and marketing initially. The founder and the co-founder is responsible for the sales and marketing, because it's his responsibility to sell the products that is in the list. And finally, finance. And again, as we have mentioned, from technical backgrounds, we have no idea of finance. When we talk about profit and loss, balance sheet, nothing is clear to us. And so we have to learn at least the basics of finance to go into the startup. So we have to have at least a plan of at least 2 to 3 years, how much our expenses will be, how many people we are going to hire, how many products we are going to get into the market. Okay, so that is the what do you say? That is one of the struggles and difficulties that an entrepreneur has to face. And finally, we should know the exact market, like how many products there's, how much, what is the requirement of your product in the market. Basically, there are reports and a lot of online data available as of now, saying that this many machines are imported, this many robots are imported. But even then, we have to attend many conferences, many events, startup events, to know the general idea of the market. So initially, before the COVID time, we used to go for so many conferences and startup events to know that, okay, this is the market requirement, this is the, what you said, this is the price of the equipment sold, we have to be competent in this price. And finally, our competition will be competition. Finally, our what you say, difficulty will be competition. So if we have to sustain, we have to be the best, and we should be keep innovating on our products. No one is going to stick on to the same product. We have to keep innovating. That is the final thing. And if we don't innovate, and if we stick in one product and okay, we are selling good, eventually someone will beat us. We will beat us in our own game. So many companies in the past have died down because they are not innovative. They might be the first company in the world to bring products like that, but since they didn't innovate on their products, they have been, what do you say, gone. They have been shut down. And finally, what are the perks? So I told you so many problems of being an entrepreneur, right? So let me tell you a few perks of being an entrepreneur also. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? So as of now, as of 2021 in India, there's a huge support for entrepreneurship. There are, if you look like 20 years back, startup was not even a word that was used that much. But now if you see every corner, you can find a startup. So as of now, there's a huge support for startup from the government, from the private sectors also. A lot of big companies like Tata, HAL, ISRO, DRDO, all of them are investing in startups because they want to build technologies, or they want to see the economy rise in India. And so as of now, if you start a startup, there are numerous entities, numerous organizations that will help you to in all these difficult areas, even in technology side, in the finance side, in every side. Then you don't need to work for anybody else. Basically, if you go to another job, you have to get a lot of things, a lot of shoulders. You can, so basically you're your own boss and you're in a startup, and we can take decisions, we can implement, we have the freedom to implement our decisions, our ideas, and we can see that in the market, right? So that is one of the benefits. Then for the country perspective, if you're looking at the country, startups are one of the most biggest source of you say job creators as of now. If you look at a lot of, in the aerospace field also, there are a lot of companies creating jobs for aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers, civil engineers. All those things are there, and it also raises the economy of the country. And and also it makes our country self-reliant. Basically, we are not dependent on other countries like China on our technologies. So as you all know that any day they can stop importing to India, and we get badly affected by that. So because of that, so we become a self-reliant nation, Atmanirbhar. Most of you must have heard of that word. And so it makes our country self-reliant. And talking on a personal perspective, our experience in working a startup is never matched by working in a big company. In a big company, you get a small job, you have to stick on to that. If you're talking in mechanical engineering side, I'm from a mechanical background. So when you're in a big country, you get a small job. You have to maybe do the CAD designs, or maybe you have to do the assembly. You have to look at the quality checking. But in a startup, we have to do A to Z. We have to do all the activities. For example, if you look at my job profile, I am doing the mechanical design, I am doing the assembly, I'm doing the testing, I'm doing the analysis. So you become an expert in your field in the technical side, and we get a lot of other experiences. For example, sales and marketing. This was one thing which I never thought I would go into, but after 1 year of my job, I went into sales and marketing, then finance. How do you manage your money? So all these experiences you'll never get in big companies, because there are different departments only for these. Sales and marketing, there's a department. For managerial roles, there's a department. For hiring, there is a department, HR. And so the experience gained from a startup is unparalleled to any other any other company, any other big company. And finally, if you look at the returns, so if I can say, if I can give you a number, 1 out of 10 startups normally is successful. That is from a B2B or business to business or business to consumer kind of startup. If you look at our kind of startup, for example, ISRO, aerospace and defense startup, 1 out of 100 companies are successful. But if you look at the returns, like if you invest in a bank or something, you get 6% annually maximum. If you invest in stock market, you may get returns of 20%, 30%. But if a startup is successful, we get 10 times, 50 times, and even 100 times the amount we have invested. For example, if you invest 1 lakh, when in the amount of 6 to 7 years, we get it in 1 crore. That is the advantage of a startup if you look at a personal financial aspect. And it is a very hard journey, because basically, as I told you, we have to do all the jobs and everything is on our hand. And so the returns are for the risk you take. So 1 out of 10 is the risk that you have to take. And that is what I would say. These are the advantages that I would say to startup as of now. And finally, I would like to conclude or end this session by giving a few advice on my short journey in the startup. So what you should do or what you should look into when you're starting up. So if you have an idea, if you think that idea is very innovative, like, okay, no one has done this in this country or no one has done this in this world, no one will recognize you, no one will give you any money to start it. So basically, even if you have an idea, you have to collect a team, or you yourself have to sit on it and work on it and get a minimal viable product or a prototype, a small working prototype. Then people will start recognizing. Then you will get grants. Then people will start supporting you, right? Before, even in our case, before we had our products or before we launched our prototypes, there was no one showing interest in our products. But after we showed the working prototypes, we have been getting recognition, grants, because we have shown that we are capable of doing things. So many people will have ideas, and if you have ideas, my first thing what you should do is start working. Don't look at any of these finance or marketing, sales and marketing initially. Start working on a product, and after you get a minimum prototype, then you get into all those other aspects. So your product is your most important thing in a startup. It should be very innovative, because there are going to be thousands of competitors. What sets you apart from these competitors is one thing. And in India, I think price is a very important thing. Your product should be rightly priced. And if you're going to start up new and if you're looking for ideas, as of now, social entrepreneurship or startups that can solve social problems are supported like anything by the government. For example, social entrepreneurship means that your startup try to solve real world or social problems. The best example that I would like to give is Gen Robotics. And so they are, I think most of you would have heard, they are cleaning the sewage tanks using a robot. So they are, and these sewages are very risky for the people to go inside, and they cause a lot of deaths every year. So they are removing that. And because of this, they are heavily supported by all these private players, the government, everything. And social entrepreneurship is one. And in the field of agriculture, innovations or technologies that can be, what do you say, help in the field of agriculture, in the field of another good field is health. And obviously in India, you can start IT startups. That is not my field of expertise, but yeah, many IT startups are very successful in India. And After you build the product, so then you have to look into the sales and marketing side of it. How will you market your products? How will it reach the common man? And that should be very that should come at a later stage, but it should equally as important as building your product. And the next thing that comes is your finance. That you should know, or you should plan ahead, like at least 3 to 4 years, that okay, I have this much, so how will I spend it on? Where will I spend it on? This much I will spend for R&D. This much I will spend for sales and marketing. This much I will spend for human, what do you say, hiring people, the staff, for example, those things. And so, and when you get investment, so you have to, then you have to scale up your this thing. That means you have to talk to investors, get some money. If you get that money, the investors' first question will be, where will you spend it on? So you must be able to convince them that for the next 3 years, this is how much I will spend on, and this is how much I will get out of it, how much profits I will get out of it. So basically, you should be very clear on how you're going to spend your money. And yeah, the team is very important. You should find a team that is very committed, very hardworking, can do sleepless nights with you just to develop the product. They should stick on or be with you even during your bad times and your good times. And you should be very, what you say, careful in this, because even one person who is not working can totally affect the team dynamics. And yeah, if one person is giving a negative attitude, or one person is not working at all, that can spread slowly to the entire team, and that can bring the whole morale down. Immediately action must be taken, that he or she must be given a warning, or he must be terminated. So you must be strong in such things, the founders and the co-founders, and the team must be absolutely dedicated, absolutely committed to this vision, and what you say, vision of the startup or vision of the company. And finally, you have a lot of incubators, for example, Kerala Startup Mission. Now in private colleges, like even in many colleges, for example, in my previous college, NIT, they have started incubators that support these startups. So they open their labs and they open their spaces uh, to these entrepreneurs, and they build their companies from them. So even if you look at the best of best companies, they come from basically colleges. And why colleges? Because there is a lot of labs that they can use to do their R&D, and there can be a lot of resources also. The students that are studying in these colleges can help develop the technology. And basically there are a lot of resources for that. And yeah, that's it. And I would like to conclude by saying that don't feel afraid and don't feel shy to start up, because it is the best time and it is the correct time. Even though COVID has come and affected a lot of things, there are a lot of companies still surviving and still successful in this era. And I encourage each one of you to think about ideas, and when you feel this is your thing, you should give your all and start up. And it will be a hard journey, but at the end, after years of struggle, it will be worth it. That is a faith and hope that I would like to share. And I would thank everyone for listening so much on a Friday evening. And I would like to open the session for any kind of questions that you have.
That was a wonderful session, sir. Now I request the participants to ask any queries related to the topic that Vignesh sir will discuss right now. Are there any queries that anyone do want to ask regarding any topic of aerospace or non-destructive testing? So I think so most of them have been really enjoyed your session, and I think so most of their doubts have been cleared by your
All right.
interactive session.
Okay.
Now I hand over the webinar to Vishnupriya to convey the vote of thanks.
Good evening, one and all, respected dignitaries. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. First and foremost, I thank our special guest, Mr. Vignesh KC, co-founder of Vasishta Research Private Limited, who, despite in his busy schedule, has found time to grace this occasion. Thank you, sir. Let me extend my
Thank you all.
sincere gratitude. Okay, thank you, sir. Let me extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. P.R. Sri Mahadevan Pillai, Principal, Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, for his support, vision, and commitment. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Krishna Kumar Kishore, Vice Principal, Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, for his support and encouragement. Thank you, sir. My heartful thanks to HODs and faculties for their valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement in all our efforts. Last but not the least, I thank all my friends for your cooperation in making this function a resounding success. Once again, thank you all. Thank you.
All participants, I have posted a doc form link for you people to fill up the forms in order to receive your certificate. So kindly do fill this form. And once again, Vignesh sir, it was really a wonderful, enjoyable session. It was really interactive for all of us. It really cleared all our doubts regarding aerospace things and non-destructive. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for receiving the invitation.
Thank you all. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.